Okay, hello everyone. I'm back here with Donna, and started talking last time about the course that they put together for farmers who had come to Niagara to work. So we're just gonna do part two of our talk. This is kind of like her post. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do check it out. It's really, really interesting. So we're just gonna talk about the challenges portion of the poster, and I have some quotes from the poster itself. Okay, so how did you choose locations and decide on timing?
Okay, so we chose locations where there were a big concentration of Spanish-speaking migrant workers. So our two specific locations were Niagara-on-the-Lake and Beamsville. Also, we rely on donated space. So we were lucky enough to have space donated by two different churches. As for the times, we had to consider the long hours that the migrant workers work, and we put our classes outside of those times so that they would have a chance to attend. We tried to poll the workers informally to know which day of the week would be best, when they don't have something else happening. And so that's how we decided them.
Okay. Did you just side track here? Do you feel like the the course kind of complemented their work, or did you feel that at times it was too much?
No, I felt like it complemented it. It was happening once a week, so it wasn't too arduous for them to go there because they are tired and whatever. And one day in Niagara-on-the-Lake and a different day in Beamsville, but obviously two different clienteles, obviously.
Yep.
So I think it was okay for them.
Okay, so the groupings.
Right.
What would you do there?
So in both locations, we were teaching multi-level groups of people, starting from very basic beginner up to quite advanced. This is not really ideal because you try to sort of go to the middle ground, which doesn't really best serve the needs of either end of the spectrum. If we had space that would allow us to separate the groups somewhat, we would be able to serve them better and have the instruction more tailored to their language proficiency level.
How many levels do you think they would need?
Ultimately, 3 levels
is
good, beginner, kind of intermediate, and then advanced, where, generally they have a good handle on the grammar. They're just learning more and more vocabulary, and what they really need is just opportunity to practice their speaking.
Awesome. Okay. Okay, time management and arrival to class.
Time is always an interesting question. We know there are different views of time across different cultures. Mexicans do have a different view than Canadians, we're quite precise in terms of time. You can see this reflected in our language by the number of verb tenses we have, which is not the case with all languages. So we have to be flexible. Also, the migrant workers, they're not really in control of their work ending time. They don't have regular shifts as most Canadians do. And they would never come to class sweaty or in their work clothes. They always want to have time to go home and shower and present their best self to us in the class. I think it feels part of being respectful for them. So we just had to be flexible about our starting time. In terms of arrival, the workers arrive in Canada at different times. So you do have people somewhat coming and going. So you also have to be flexible in terms of that.
Okay. Sounds pretty fair. Okay, before their arrival to Canada, do you think that would help?
It would be amazing if we could make that happen. It is challenging because Mexico is a huge country and they're coming from many different areas, different parts, so they're not, all together in one place. It would seem a simple answer would be some kind of instruction over Skype or something like this,
Yeah.
but we have to remember that not all homes down there will have computers or internet,
Yes.
unlike the majority of most Canadian homes. So it would be great if it could happen, but it's challenging.
That's true. Okay. Literacy in L1.
Right. Some of them definitely not literate or low literate in Spanish. You know, maybe not everyone had an opportunity to go to high school, or even some not finish elementary school. And, you know, maybe not a lot of opportunities to read, not a lot of access to books or whatever. Things we take for granted here in Canada are not the norm everywhere. So we need a different approach with these students, because you can't just put a book down in front of them and when they don't have a lot of print awareness or print literacy. So we have to keep that in mind.
How much did you know about like their demographics before they came, or their literacy?
Almost nothing.
Okay.
I just get their names on the first night of class, and a lot of it we kind of figured out on our own.
Okay, interesting. And have you come across students who are very literate, or you could tell they were educated?
Yes, I mean, some quite good, and, you know, must have been interested in reading and had done a lot of reading on their own. And so it's a spectrum, a wider variety than you would find among most Canadian groups of students.
What was the total number?
It would vary, but most nights we would have, you know, 10, 12, 15 students in the class in each location.
Okay, that's a good number to work with. And so in terms of supportive material then, or
yes,
material,
this is a problem, because we can't expect our students to buy school supplies. If they have to make a choice between sending money home to their family and buying school supplies, the choice will clearly be for the family. So we sought donations, again, from various church and community sources, and we bought all the school supplies for them. So each of them got a school bag and the course text and notebook and pen, pencil, all these things. And I could notice a change in the demeanor of the students, and you'll have some quotes on the poster. They saw themselves as different. Now I'm not just a worker, I'm a student and a learner. It made a big change for a lot of them. In terms of input, this is also a problem, because they live together in the bunkhouses. Of course, they speak all in Spanish, so limited access of people to practice their English with.
Yeah. Interesting. A lot to think about. Okay, so transportation, can you talk about that?
Right. So it's not as if I could hold my classes at Brock University and think that the students would have a way to get there. That can't happen. We had to take the classes to the students. They have to be able to get there either on foot or on their bicycles, because no public transit or anything, so we had to go to them.
Okay, so this was one of the advantages you've mentioned.
This is a huge advantage and makes any teacher's heart happy to see students who are so motivated, so hungry to learn, as I say. They want to learn, and they will sacrifice a lot to have the chance to learn. This is not always the case here in Canada. So this is a huge plus. You know, motivation is one of the key factors in any kind of learning. So.
So do you think this was inspired by their motivation to write their...
Yes, I believe that's totally what's driving them. I mean, imagine you've just worked 12, 14 hours doing back-breaking labor in the fruit farms and the fields, and now you'll go home, shower, and now you'll ride how many miles on your bike just to get to this class, and then ride back after in the dark, pitch black. You must really want it if you're willing to do that.
And I think that's it.
Okay.
Actually, thank you so much for your time. This concludes our podcast.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Donna.